Welcome back to the exciting adventures of Beefstick the Barbarian. Last time we talked to the elder, the Amenphaf of the Guided Compass clan. Saw her, the other soul that's in her.
Indeed.
Convinced her to let us deeper into the city of Twin Elms. And now I'm in Elms Reached. I talked to... while I was in that in the log house there, I met a man, a very agitated man from the... which clan was he? He was from the Keepers of the Stone clan, and his brother was out on some ritual hunt, and he hasn't come back. And this guy right here claims that he beat him to getting the kill on the Great Stalgar, and his brother hasn't returned because of the shame.
Your thoughts must flow deeply, indeed.
And I agreed to go out and find out what the truth is. Maybe that is the truth. I talked to him, and he told me his story. Then I went into the Hall of Warriors, and I talked to the Amenphaf of the Three Tusk Stalgar clan, and he wants me to basically sacrifice his adopted daughter, sort of, so that her soul may be passed on to somebody else, and one of his children that's better, more in line with his thinking, can become the next leader of the clan. I'm of course not going to sacrifice the kid. Then I met one of his sons, and his son wants me to get a poison that will kill his father, and I'm not exactly keen on that either. Let's go to the Blood Sands, which is where the sacrifice would take place. I'm not taking the kid there or anything, I kind of just want to see what's in there. The clear waters taste sweet and refreshing. Just want to explore the area. There's no chance I'm going to take the kid over there. Oh. Is this Theos? Yeah.
You have stayed true to our cause, Inquisitor, when so many others have not. For every heretic we confess, for every betrayer that burns on our pyres, new sheep continue to flock to Iavara ex Incios. But not you. I underestimated you in the beginning, but no longer.
You honor me, Grand Inquisitor.
It is not for honor that I summoned you today, but for duty. Too many of our own have confessed upon the wheel and the rack and the flame. Too many of our faithful have had their minds poisoned by the Kratom witch. The tide is against us now. We have but one option. Iavara's following must see her exposed for what she is. She must confess her heresy before my court.
How would we reach her?
Not in Kratom, surely. Their lord has embraced her heathen faith and protects her with his army. But in Oceanus, things would be different. The king of Oceanus is a sinful man. We have helped him to see the error of his ways, and now he fears for his soul. He would pay any price for absolution.
But how would we get Iavara to move to Oceanus?
You have already done much for the Inquisition. I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
Theos puts his hand on your shoulder. He wants me to lure her over there, or kidnap her? Or past me? Alright, so we got Terra, Evron. Let's go to Blood Sands first. No. Or not. Ah, the Delimgan. See there. Two identical women seem to fade into view as they move away from the great trees that camouflage them. Their skin is tree bark, rigid and scaly, wreathed in a curling tangle of roots, buds, and blooms. Their hair hangs beneath the shade of serrated leaves like the drooping branches of the elms above, and the pupils of their eyes are encircled by hundreds or even thousands of concentric rings, as if to mark the accumulated wisdom of a millennia.
Turn around, flesh creature. Outsiders are not permitted to approach the elms.
One of them extends a snarl of root toward you that snakes and twists together to form something like an open hand, palm down.
Do you not feel it, sister? Something familiar. An ancient soul, like the other one. Another defiler, no doubt. Let us fell him and be troubled no more. It would pay the debt of his predecessor.
The other stares at you, unblinking, and as her frown deepens, her face creaks.
So it would seem, Rhiannon. But we must not hasten to judgment. I see a different motive here. Different questions in these eyes.
What of it, young trespasser? Is it as my sister says? Or are you here to stain this place with foul deeds?
I seek a man who came through here. It sounds as though you have already met him.
There! By his own admission, Sheetha.
Really, sister? And you wonder why your leaves begin to fall out before midsummer. Clearly that man did not want to be followed. Whatever the relationship here, I suspect it is anything but cordial.
Rhiannon opens her mouth to respond, but all that escapes her knotted lips is an exasperated, rustling sigh. Sita turns back to face you.
The answer is yes, old one. We crossed paths with Theos not long ago, and we can tell you where he went. But I find it curious that anyone would seek him out. Suspicious, even. If we are to help you find him, we would know why.
Stopping him might end Wadewen's legacy.
So that is the reason he passed this way. This is low, even for the leaden key.
I told you we should have confronted him, Sheetha. He has always been a poison.
It would have been the last thing we ever did, sister. Who can be said to have ever gotten the better of Theos?
Yes, but imagine how much fun it would have been. Can't you just picture him all strung up in vines like an angry little puppet?
But that's not what this is really about, is it? You are bound to that man.
Sheeta glances over at you, and then her expression changes as though seeing you for the first time.
I see it now. You are awakened. Your soul is awake, and something once buried deep now wells to the surface. Past overwhelms present, closes in around you. Your time has nearly reached its end.
I just need to get to Theos.
I am sorry to tell you this, but Theos cannot give you what you seek. Nor can any man. An awakening cannot be undone, any more than your past can be undone.
What's she mean? I thought Merwald said. Allo's face is rigid. This is permanent? We did not come down this road together to be refused passage by a pair of talking saplings. Madicho, there must be some way. To be chained to such a past. Her face is pale, her eyes hollow, a bitter and grievous thing, Watcher. So this has all been for nothing, and I'm going to lose my mind?
The soul is formless without a past to shape it. Did you truly expect to be able to wipe it away?
I'd rather have tried to put things right. A noble thought, but for the lifetimes that separate you from your problems.
However, as much as my sister speaks truly that there is no way back from an awakening, there may yet be a way forward. Would you agree, Sheetha?
I would. Were the way not so likely to end in death.
Death may be preferable to what lies in store for me.
It may, but not all deaths are alike, and the man you pursue is versed in thousands of them.
The man Theos you must already know by now. You are linked by a common past. Something about it lingers within you, festering, unresolved. What it is I cannot see any more than you. And without that knowledge, your doom is certain. But were you to learn the source of this discord, perhaps it could be put to rest. Though it is equally possible it will trouble you as much now as it did then, and merely speed your condition to its end.
My past comes to me in pieces. How do I unlock the rest?
You might wait for it to come on its own, of course. But when it comes, it will replace your sanity's last breath. Such is the nature of your condition.
Or you could learn it from someone who already knows.
Theos. Would he remember?
It is said the gods made his memory perfect, that he may never forget his charge. If he ever knew, he still does.
Not that he would tell you, of course.
You have followed the right person for the wrong reason, it seems. We see it often beneath the elms. The soul dragging mind and body to unknown places for unfathomable reasons. You may have wandered into Theos's path many times, in many lifetimes, without an awakening to show you why.
The only thing that's certain is you did not find what you sought.
You said you know where he went.
He has gone down beneath the tower to a place older than we, where the people of Engwith once walked. He makes his way to the buried city, Sun and Shadow.
May he stay down there and rot with the remains of his people.
He may yet. He won't be returning the way he came, that much is certain. He opened a secret path in the tower's base, and saw it destroyed behind him through some vile means.
Is there another way to get to
We
him?
know of one. On the burial isle, through the court of the penitents, Braeth Yaman. A shortcut, in fact.
Don't be cruel, sister. The way my sister speaks of is not for the faint of heart. A great pit at the center of a forgotten court, where faiths were judged in place of crimes. To most, it is simply a gateway to death. With the help of the gods, it can take you where you want to go.
What do you mean, with the help of the gods?
The pit is said to have been a means of judgment by the gods. Those cast into it are meant to die. It is that way you must pass to reach Sun and Shadow. The court is old. We do not know much for certain, but it would seem only the gods themselves can grant passage.
What is this court?
No more than a ruin now. It is older than we, a place for the trial of heretics. We were not here to witness it, but at one time there was a group that refused to acknowledge the gods. Neither the first nor the last, of course, but these were numerous and all put on trial for it. Those who did not repent were cast into the pit and imprisoned below. The fall killed them, of course. The prison was not for people but for their souls, and their sentences were eternal. It is said that many of the condemned repented and were permitted by the gods to ascend from the pit, so long as they pledged their service to one of them. But these are old legends.
How would I ever get the gods to help me?
Behind us is Ter Evron, said to pierce the shroud itself and a place of communion with all gods. If ever there was a time for prayer, you have found it.
Is there no other way?
None.
So the only way to get through this pit is to pray for help.
Not the only way. Just the only one that doesn't end with your body impaled on jagged rocks.
Who would I pray to? Any god you can, I should think.
I would pray first to those gods you like best. I hope for your sake, the feeling is shared.
How do I pray?
Ter Evron is also called the Hall of Stars, and the stars show us the allegiances of the gods. When stars are in conjunction, we know the gods they represent are aligned as well. You should choose a place to pray where you'll be closest to those you want to hear you. If a god stands alone, you should pray to that god. If they band together, you should address them all. Choose your words wisely, for all gods expect proper homage, and none has patience for fools.
I have other questions.
What do you wish to know?
How did you know I was pursuing Theos?
The same way that you are no doubt able to peer into the ether and experience the souls of others. It is something we are born with, some more, some less. A gift common to many creatures of the wilds. You share certain similarities with the man you pursue. For your sake, I pray they are few and of no consequence.
You mentioned that people come to these elms without knowing why. A soul has a will all its own. Its needs and whims are seldom understood, but they follow them all the same.
There is something about this place that reaches beyond our understanding, something like a beacon. The elms have a way of uniting souls that have been seeking one another, with or without their owner's awareness. Sometimes it is for love, sometimes for vengeance, sometimes for peace. Often it is for no reason we will ever know. In your case, let us hope it is for peace.
Or vengeance.
I want to know about the two of you.
There is little to be said about us, for we are bound here, caretakers and defenders of this place. Our journey has been over time, but not distance, measured in observations, but not experiences. We have seen the elms grow tall. We have seen cities built, burned, and built again. The only constant has been the tower, a silent companion through the ages. You can imagine why this recent destruction has stirred my sister so.
If you do nothing else, make that man pay for what he did here.
Before you go, tell me this, old one. I'm curious. If you were to subdue your enemy, what would you do with him? What would give you peace?
I wish to undo the harm he's caused.
You would need to have twice as many lifetimes as he to repair his savage work.
But perhaps there are strides you can make.
All the same, think on this matter. Be assured in your course. In the end, it may mean all the difference, not just to his soul, but to yours. And be warned. Some questions have answers that can never be learned, and it is those that trouble the soul above all others. May you find an answer to yours.
Cool. How much longer for my construction? 19 hours. ethnic Null welcome your presence, supplicants. A dwarven man stands, motionless, near the roaring fire that lights the cavern. Your sacrifice feeds the land, supplicants. Come forth. A gust of smoke curls around him, licking the charred flesh that bulges on his forearms. They suddenly flex. Estremor! The dwarf holds his fists in tight grip. Your kin doesn't come here to share with the tribes. What do you want? What's this place? Blood Sands. The dwarf picks on his scarred forearm. His guttural sigh mingles with the crackling of wooden bones behind him. As I said, Estremorn rarely visit our halls. The Glanthathans call this place Blood Sands. We call it home. The Ethic Knoll have tended the land from within the cave since before the arrival of the tribes of the Twin Elms. Garost crosses his arms. Be warned, Estremor. We bleed life to nurture it. Our sacrifices may strike you as savage, but the health of these lands depend on them. And it's unseemly for guests to insult their hosts. Tell me about the sacrifices. Garros spreads his stocky legs apart and locks his forearms. Everything must die to return in you, Estremor. Through the sacrificial rites, we offer supplicants the honor of giving their most precious gifts back to their brethren, back to the land. The dwarf lifts his fist, thick and mottled by red scars. The blood gives us strength. Even the Glanthathans have come to depend on the blood paint. They brim with power before battle, all thanks to the sacrifices of their kin. Tell me about the Ethic Knoll. Our order has thrived for generations. Before we came to Twin Elms, our rites fed the lands of the eastern mountains. Now we share blood for Air Glanthath. Garost opens his palms, strikes a red skin run through them like flames. To everything that must end, our sacrifices bring a new beginning. He looks up. We sustain what's to come. Remember, Estremor, you're a guest in these halls. Respect our ways and we'll tolerate your presence among us. There is no greater honor than dying for one's tribe. If some fall in battle, how is this different? An Earth Blight.
Hail, Estremor.
The elderly dwarf blinks at you, not quite looking at you. Her eyes are pale and clouded with cataracts. Welcome to Blood Sands. It is rare that an Estremor sets foot in these caverns. Her sightless eyes fix on you as she tilts her head. What brings you here, I wonder? What do you do here? I sell and maintain certain goods for the preservation of our order, and I perform some of our ritual sacrifices. Something more? How do these sacrifices work? Like any worthwhile ritual, it's too complex to explain in detail. It involves clotting the supplicant's essence, binding it to their life's blood, and drawing it into a container or vessel. Tell me about Blood Sands. This is the raw, bloody heart of Air Glanthath, where some come to give their essence back to their people. Her dry lips bend into a sardonic grin, where others seek a noble escape from their trials. The legacy of the builders to the tribes was not merely Adra and stone, but a sense of community, and it is here the Glanthathans come to sacrifice what is most precious, even their own lives, to preserve it. Well, let me see what you have for sale. Oh, they sell the war paint. Plus 15 accuracy, times 1.1 damage, times 1.2 maximum endurance for 20 seconds. Binding the essence of sacrificed lives into a potent brew of blood and magic. War paint crafted by the Ethic Knoll has powered Glanthathan warriors to perform great feats of strength and dexterity for hundreds of years. Those are pretty cool. Huh. I should buy some. I'll sell this blade arm. All right. The bravest sons and daughters fall, not by swords of Estermorn, but by the daggers of their brethren. Sacrifice in action.
As your blood flows, so shall your essence. Your life's energy shall feed the soil, and your soul's energy shall enrich the community. This is by your own choosing, supplicant?
Archdruid Restin. A dwarven man stands on a raised platform. Beneath him, an elf lies prone on a stone table. As you get closer, you hear the dwarf speak in a gravely monotone. Yes, the elf's voice is high, but even. The dwarf grips a hatchet with both hands and raises it over his head. He throws his shoulder forward and swings the weapon into the elf's chest, connecting with a meaty thump. Blood gushes around the blade, and the sacrifice's scream rend the air. Alaf's lips curl disgust. This is why I prefer the wand to the blade. Despite his earlier agreement, the elf thrashes atop the stone table, his torso arching while his arms and legs remain tied in place. Meanwhile, the dwarf spreads his arms wide and allows blood to splatter his robes. When the elf is finally silent and still, the dwarf pulls his hatchet out from the body and wipes it on his hem. Well, that was, yeah. Alright, moving along. Essence within to nurture flesh, and essence without to strengthen it. Ooh, another sacrifice type thing. They jump into the fire pit. The heat emanating from this pool threatens to singe the flesh on your face. Anything for me to read or anything up there? No? How do you get in that room? There's something there.
They shall see nothing while I see much.
Ah. Let me save my game. Attempting to open that wall may make them hostile to me. Well, looks like I can't do it anyway. The gift of sacrifice transmutes blood into water and essence into power. Just as the flesh of one nourishes many, the sacrifice freely made. For the ones that will come to us, for the ones that will come to us, for the ones that will come to us, for the ones that will come to us. The blood of sacrifice waters the soil of Air Glenthap. The petitioner before you is swaddled in loose-fitting robes. Her hair is greasy and matted. A glossy film of sweat and grime coats her exposed skin. She has the swollen features of pregnancy and several missing teeth in her big grinning smile. As you approach, she slowly turns to you and examines you from head to toe, smiling the entire time. "Joyous day to you," she says. Despite coming from a wearied body, her voice sounds resonant and relaxed. "I am Naka, midwife and lorekeeper." Her hands run across the slight bulge in her belly. She rolls her head back and sighs a relaxed purr. "Are you feeling well?" "Flawless," she replies. "Apologies. I should be left to my meditation. The rite of strength is invigorating, almost overwhelming to the senses." She reaches down and craters her belly in the hands and turns away. "Alright, well, good luck with that."
Next time I get the chance, I'm buying you a pint. That means a lot, Adair. Oh, do you want one too? Sorry, I meant for Isilmir. I'll get you one too.
Well, I should go in there and see about appealing to the gods, if it is indeed what I need to do. Well now. I think I've read all of these except for this one. When my students ask to be taught the way of Gallowayne, I tell them that they have already failed. Does one ask a deer to present itself as dinner? Of course not. One must outwit, outmaneuver, and overpower the deer if one dreams of venison. So it is with the Seeker God. To ask a question is weakness and idle indecision. To seek answers is to understand. And to become one with Gallowayne Survival begins with strength from within. But I only strike my students when they ask the second stupid question. For all of us begin young and weak. It is a point, fact, and not one of shame, and a certain tenet to Galawain's teaching. Perseverance and cleverness are prized by Galawain above brute force, a fact that my young pups often forget. It is right and proper that the strong lead the weak, and it is equally proper that the strong be continually tested until the balance changes. Galawain celebrates the strength of the victor and the prowess of the well-fed predator, but above all, the clever hound celebrates the transformative nature of strength. Galawain's greatest desire for us is that prey becomes predator, mewling babes grow into strong hunters, and the lost find their own enlightenment. The philosophy is best exemplified by the rites of the Anamthatha of Air Glanthath. When one of the Glanthathan spiritual leaders is old and nearing death, it is customary to enter the woods and confront Galawain's herald. If the secret god finds that Anamthath's life, deeds, and soul worthy, the reward is a quick death, and his soul joins Galawain's pack. If deemed unworthy, the Anamthath is killed, his soul forced to find its way to the next life, and his memory erased from the records of the tribe. Survival begins with strength from within, and weak leaders endanger the whole pack. This is Galawain at his purest. Even at the end of life, one must struggle for worthiness, for greatness, just as one must struggle every day to feed his pack. The secret god is easy to understand if one actively engages in a quest for knowledge, but his secrets are self-occluding to those who merely ask, desiring knowledge without the requisite hunt. My own flesh and blood once asked me, "Will learning to hunt please Galawain?" I told him yes, but added, "Galawain would prefer that you hunt to learn." Wow, this Jonas guy left journals everywhere. Missives of the Hand Occult. Dearest brother, or was it sister? May this letter find you in well spirits. A man of thuggish bearing stormed into my library the other day and demanded I help him find a book on the construction of an arquebus. I thought a proper service to Whale to steer this man towards an illuminated manuscript on the subject of whittling toy soldiers and other miniature props. Unamused by my solution, I shrugged and said, "What is an answer without a question?" He did not find the spiritual rhetoric helpful or amusing, so he punched out two of my teeth. "I trust your summer has been less tumultuous than mine?" In more important news, my apprentice claims she saw the eyeless face in a dream the other night. I admit I was so mad with envy that at first I refused to believe her. Whale forgive me for such a lapse of judgment. She described an amo of brilliant blue hues with a featureless face surrounded by a swarm of eyes. No, two eyes alike. She claims Whale ignored her questions, and she can't recall any specifics of what was said. In fact, my apprentice seems to have forgotten many things since before the visitation. She could not tell me where she grew up or where she liked to eat. At first I was so envious of her for having seen Whale with her own eyes, but it seems Whale's visit was to conceal, not to illuminate. I pray she endures this test of faith and can look back at the event and feel the joy of mystery. What is an answer without a question? Last week, I felt the solution was ignorance, but after Whale's visit, I feel a road without length is closer to capturing the riddle. I worry my apprentice will look back at her visit from Whale and feel cheated, robbed of some moment of clarity we all thought we were owed when we first joined. I tried to tell her she was lucky, but she was too young to understand. What is an answer without a question? May I be dead and my soul scattered to the winds before anyone knows for certain. This I've read, right? Yeah. 10 Years of Dawn. I've read this. this. And I've read that. Shattered and charred stone blocks the passage into sun and shadow. Crisp flashes of light run through this Aedra shard, pulsing in its faceted core like veins of light fueled by the heart of fire. Okay.
A brothel for the aged.
Whoa. Nothing happens when you approach Woodika's shrine. And this is... In a nearby constellation, you can make out the shape of a strange horned beast. From time to time, you think you sense a faint chill emanating from the shrine itself. That's Rim Grand. Okay. Piercing ring fills your ears as you try to near Whale's shrine. There is no other response. In the glittering stars of the nearby constellation, you see the grim shapes of a skull. Its jaws are open wide. It's frozen in a silent scream. Alright, so that's Bear F. This shrine sits before a bright constellation, its stars forming the oval shape of an egg. A pair of wings sprout from the egg, stretching out to either side. It's Hylia. Before the shrine sits the constellation of a snarling hound, fangs bared. That's Galloway. Gallowayne it is. You kneel before the shrine and prepare to recite the ritual words. Survival begins with strength from within. I think that's the way to go. The air around you stirs, and a gust of warm wind blows across the back of your neck. You catch the faintest smell of wet earth. As you kneel in front of the shrine, you feel yourself pushed forward. You catch yourself on your hands and knees, feeling warm, damp ground beneath them. Looking around you, you find yourself crouched in a clearing in the middle of the woods. The smell of dirt hangs heavy in the air. Behind you is a darkened room filled with candlelit shrines. Ahead you hear the howl of some kind of hound. You feel certain this is a vision, but the hairs on the nape of your neck still rise. The beast bays in response, its voice high and clear. The thick undergrowth shivers with movement, and heavy paws pound the wet grass. You're not certain if the creature is hunting or leading you, but you instinctively give chase. As you tumble through dew-speckled bushes and clawing brambles, each stride feels longer than the last. You draw lungfuls of crisp, clear air and feel your energy renewed. The rhythm of your stride and the thumping of the beast's paws drive the blood thrumming into your ears. You speed ahead, following the hound's cries. When its split-finger pine crashes to the ground in front of you, a massive bear lunges into the gap and roars. It catches sight of you. You turn and race in the opposite direction, leaping over the fallen tree trunk. Pine cones crunch underfoot. The bear lumbers after you. Its hot breath washes over the back of your neck, filling your nose with the rank odor of slaughter. You see a clearing just past a thicket of broadleaves and sprint toward it. As you break through the foliage, you see a massive lioness curled up in the clearing in front of you. With a last burst of energy, you divert your momentum and hurl yourself into the bushes. Any second now, you expect to feel the bear fall upon you, but a furious roar on the other side of the clearing draws your attention. The bear has stopped at the tree line. It swipes the empty air with claws large enough to rend armor, but it does not advance. The lioness, for her part, twists her body into a tight coil. She growls, her ears pressed against her head, but she makes no move to attack the intruder. Pallegina elbows you. What are you waiting for? When your quarry, take any opportunity to escape that you can. You back deeper into the foliage, keeping your eyes on the two mighty predators. As you crawl backwards, the heel of your hand brushes something furred. A warm sigh grazes your cheek. You freeze in place, slowly turning your head to see what waits behind you. Two amber eyes shine in the darkness. If I'm dying here, at least it was with my friends. And Durrance. The eyes meet your gaze briefly, then turn to the standoff in the clearing. The hound behind you yawns, fangs flashing. When you turn back, the lion and the bear have disappeared. In their place is a stone wolf's maw, gaping wide enough to swallow you whole. Beyond it is the outline of a temple, towering but indistinct. Blood must feed the maw, watcher. See, the true champion reigns. Two mighty hunters, a lioness and a bear, wait in a deadlock. They face off but do not fight. It falls to me to resolve this stale conflict in one way or another. Gallowayne showed me a vision of a stalled fight between a lioness who lies in wait and the bear who circles her. He also revealed a cave shaped like a wolf's maw in an area that looks like a temple district. I can probably learn more there. Alright. I think I have done what needs to be done here then. I have questions.
What do you wish to know? We will tell you what we can. Behind us is Ter Evron, said to pierce the shrouded sea. Until we meet again.
Did you hear that? About our awakenings being permanent?
Yeah, I did. It's not exactly comforting. Alright, so I guess a visit to the Golden Grove is next. This is where I could get the potion, I suppose, or the poison. I don't think I want to. Let it.
Builder's wisdom to you.
The elf holds a chipped wooden pipe. The sweet smoke wafting from the bowl makes you dizzy. Welcome, Estremor. I've got herbs and potions for sale. Looking for something to ease your travels or something to make them more interesting? When she grins, you see her teeth and gums are stained brown. I'd like to see her stocks. Look at that, more war paint. Ah, I will buy a sapphire. I'll take an emerald. I'll take... let's take 2 Vithrak rings for now. I'm never going to use the Tanglefoot trap. Let's get those 2. Alright. I hear that you can make certain poisons. She takes the draw on her pipe. Poisons? I only deal in tonics that can heal and enlighten. She exhales a puff of smoke. Of course, many beneficial substances can be harmful when taken in great quantities. But that's just Weretha's way of keeping all things in balance. Really? What kind of substances? She leans against the winding tree trunk and ticks the items off on her fingers. Oh, there's plenty. Concentrated Carogolan, undistilled spider venom, rotten blood moss extract, cave coral mixed with skein bone. She stops counting and scratches her head. What would you want with something like that? There's no way for me to back out of this and say, well, I'm just kidding. Well, my friend Stelgar is dying and he wants to ease the creature's passing. She frowns, her teeth clamped around the pipe. Poor thing. Here, take this. She gives you a vial filled with dark fluid. It works slowly, but this will send him back to the circle kindly enough. Just see that it doesn't get misplaced. Half that dose would kill an Almoa. She taps ash from her pipe into the grass. Is there anything else I can do for you? Nope. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to use that poison, though. Could be useful for something else. Tamarin. Though his eyes are closed and his posture still, the man before you keeps his head aimed at you and is carefully following your movements. Hail to you. May your time in the Golden Grove be enriching. If you are in need of services, he says, his eyes still closed, speak with Bleda. She will come to you. She will see to your concerns. What can you tell me of the Golden Grove? We are naturalists, philosophers, herbalists, and teachers. The Ovates of the Golden Grove know that the true wisdom comes from the study of the natural order. We endeavor to teach others to explore the world for themselves. Okay. Thank you. Golden leaves flash and shine as they fall from the trees. And where does this lead? Back to Harp Song, or I could go to Old Song. Okay, I'll probably go to Old Song. I also revealed a cave shaped like a wolf's maw in an area that looks like a temple district. I could probably learn more there. That cave looks like a wolf's maw a little bit. I think I need to go back there. And I will do that next time. Go back there, see if I can learn anything more about this stalemate between the bear and the lion. And if not, or either way, after that, move on. Maybe go to Old Song, I guess.